Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's C-O-M-B-E-S-T, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?
It's me, Egbert, once again. I'm the new owner of this station. I went out and hired the best talk radio consultant, Jeff Allen from News Talk STL, and told him to hire the worst talent he could find. Jeff did exactly as I told him. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Brad and John.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
I'm sorry. I can't resist, John. It's one of my all-time favorites.
It's so good.
Okay, hold on a minute. Let me clear my throat. At this time, this part of the show, this is something, what is our third week? Excuse me,
It's our fourth week. Yeah, we've done all the major gubernatorial candidates with today, Brad.
John works very hard on this, and what he does is he picks a politician. This week's politician is whom?
Lieutenant Governor and Governor candidate Mike Kehoe.
Who, once again, when I'm on the roads here in St. Louis, I don't know if it's just my timing or not, but he's on every electronic billboard. I see him. I see his campaign announcement every single place. So, but I don't see Bill Eigel, and I don't see your buddy Jay Nixon.
Kehoe is everywhere, and he's just starting to spend that money, Brad.
Well, so think he'd maybe spend some money with us?
I don't know. I think if there was a good news talk station in the Westplex, but I think he'd probably rather just listen to Olivia Rodrigo 50 times a day.
Listen to you. John picks a politician, and what he does is he takes quotes. Some quotes are from the politician. Some quotes are for Taylor Swift. And he gives these quotes out of the air, and the question to me is, Taylor Swift, our current politician, and in this case, Mike Kehoe. So, John, how many do you have this week?
We have 10. And by the way, they're not just Taylor Swift quotes. There's Taylor Swift quotes from her latest album, The Tortured Poets Department.
So it's not something, one of her original works where she's talking about.
It wouldn't be Shake It Off or anything that, Brad Hildebrand would have committed to memory.
So if you say, that's why if you said, when I hear Tim McGraw, I go, Taylor Swift, I know exactly, because you're not going to.
That's right.
You're not going to pick some of her classics. Okay. So number one, John.
Nobody even knows. Try and come for my job.
That's got to be Kehoe.
Correct answer is Taylor Swift.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. That's in her song, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
Wow.
You would think coming for my job. I was trying to throw you off, Brad. You're 0 for 1 at this point. Let's go into number 2. Ready?
Okay. Yep, I'm ready.
No way I'm going to screw up now that I know what's at stake here.
Taylor Swift?
Correct, Brad. That is from her track, Fresh Out the Slammer. No way I'm going to screw up now that I know what's at stake here. Very good, Brad.
By the way,
number 3.
Just out of curiosity, have you listened to her new album? Have you listened to all these songs?
Yeah, boy. It is some, I'm going to just confess here. A lot of times I X out of it, Brad, because it's it as the youth say, it gets you in your feels. You start thinking about. Well, you just start thinking about a lot of things, Brad. Yeah, I would describe it as very powerful.
Every time I hear Tim McGraw, never mind. Okay, go ahead. Number 3.
Number 3. See people kneeling out on the front lawn, praying to her.
Mike Kehoe?
Correct, Brad. He was having a conversation at the Missouri Pork Industry Banquet, and he was talking about how, the goddess of agriculture is up on the top of the Missouri Capitol. And he said, you might not see people out on the Capitol praying to her, but still agriculture is our number one industry, despite what, smarmy little hipsters in the city would say about it. Okay, Brad, you are 2 for 1. By the way, your top batting average throughout this whole series of challenges has been 700. So let's see if you can beat 700. Go ahead, Brad.
Let me go back a minute. Is there really a goddess of agriculture in Jefferson City?
Yeah, at the top of the Missouri Capitol. That's what adorns the top of the Capitol.
No kidding, really? That's who that woman up there is?
Yeah, you would think, I know from your experiences, Brad, you would think the goddess of agriculture is some chick in a barn in Franklin County across from a crap transmitter. But actually, it's a goddess on top of the Missouri Capitol.
The transmitter's in Warren County, by the way. It's not in
Whatever. Why you got to undermine my punchlines, Brad? You ready for number 4?
Yeah, give me number 4.
Never could afford to draw a line in the sand. I always had to understand where you were.
That's got to be Taylor.
That is Mike Kehoe.
God, I'm 2-2 now.
He got together with Mark Maxwell. Kehoe did this thing where he had his big van and he was going out to Missouri state parks. Mark Maxwell has a whole interview up. A bug was biting Mark Maxwell during it, and Mark Maxwell made a bug joke. And Mike Kehoe was talking a little bit about how the car industry has translated into his career as a politician. He never could draw a line in the sand. He always had to understand where you were, Brad. Okay, you're 2-2 now, Brad. Here's number 5.
Okay.
That was never an excuse. What do you mean your head's not together?
That's got to be Taylor Swift.
Correct answer is Mike Kehoe.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he was talking to the Missouri, what's DHSS? So that would be Department of Health and Senior Services.
Right.
And he was talking about mental health. And he was talking about how, in his mother's day and his grandpa's day, nobody would ever talk about mental health. He'd say that was never an excuse. Like, what do you mean your head's not together? Get back to work. And, and through a lot of his speeches, Brad, that I listened to over the past week, he's been a real advocate for mental health. So I think that's I think that might be a distinguishing characteristic of Mike Kehoe. Okay, you're 2-3, Brad, but you still have plenty of time to turn this around with number 6.
I was going to say he wanted me to be the poster child for one of his campaign promises, but now I don't know if maybe that's what he's asking about. He wants me to be.
I bet he would. He heard that you even went to a ribbon cutting in a pink safety vest.
John's going to throw shade
he
at me now.
Thought maybe you escaped from the Bell Fountain Rehabilitation Center. Number 6.
My mom used to work there, believe it or not.
I know.
Okay,
yeah.
number
Well, that's
6.
how she met you. That's how she adopted you.
Yes.
Number 6.
Go ahead.
You're a professional? He said no. Just a good Samaritan.
I'm going to stick with Taylor Swift again.
Correct. That's from the song The Manuscript, Brad. She's talking about, my take is she's talking to a guy and she's expressing some skepticism that he's some sort of a player or something like that. 3 for 3, Brad.
Whoa.
3 for 3. Okay, number 7. I think he's moving on now, but he could be back.
Man, that's a toss-up. That's a shorty. That could be either way. Mike Kehoe.
Yes, Brad. Very good. Very good. He was doing an interview with Color 10 down in Joplin, and the TV station posted this to YouTube without making any edits. There's like some guy cutting grass or using some machinery, and the audio guy's like, can anybody hear what he's saying? I can't hear what Kehoe's saying. And Mike was talking about the guy cutting grass. He's like, I think he's gone, but he could come back. Boy, I tried to trick you there, Brad. Very good. You're 4-3.
Did that make it on the air like that?
I don't think it made it on the air, but you know how it goes on YouTube. A lot of people just post stuff and just the raw edits, and they don't care.
Right, okay.
And especially if it's a Republican, they want to make them look bad. Okay, number 8.
Okay.
Growing up precocious sometimes means not growing up at all.
Taylor Swift.
Yes, very good, Brad. Brad, you could do it. You could set a brand new record. You are 5-3 right now. By the way, that's from the song But Daddy, I Love Him. That's a very powerful song, too. Okay, number 9. We don't do these to make you cry. We do these to make you happy.
Well, it sounds like a Taylor Swift lyric, but I think you're throwing me a curve. I think that's Mike Kehoe.
Correct. Boy, Brad, it is impossible to trick you on these. Okay, yeah, he was giving, one of the things that lieutenant governors do is they're advocates for the elderly or seasoned citizens or whatever we're supposed to call them now. And he gave like a resolution he gave one of his senior service awards to the seasoned citizen, and it was the woman's birthday, and she started crying. And he said, we don't do these to make you cry. We do these to make you happy, which, by the way, is good advice for men. If a woman is crying, you always want to respond with a rational statement.
A rational
You always want to provide facts.
or
Okay.
irrational statement.
Okay, number 10. This is the last one. Brad, if you get this one correct, you've matched your all-time batting average of 700. Ready?
Alrighty.
1997? I wasn't even born then.
Well, that's weird because both of them have been born in 1997. 1997, I wasn't even born then. That's got to be Taylor Swift.
Correct answer is Mike Kehoe.
Oh.
Yeah, he was speaking at, this is like 13 years ago. He was at a Missouri River pedestrian bridge dedication, and he was making like a wacky punchline. A guy made a reference to somebody was involved in something since 97, and Kehoe said, 97? I wasn't even born then. And everybody got a good chuckle from the humor, Brad.
So,
hey, 6 out of 10, Brad. You batted 600, better than the Cardinals' winning percentage. And that is not quite your top batting average for this series. But it's at none of these, Brad, did you bat below 500. I think you should be pretty proud of yourself.
no, hold it. 600, isn't that their losing percentage now? Are they
Yeah,
high?
I think we'd be happy to be at a 400 winning percentage at this point.
Right.
So, this was a lot of fun, Brad. Thanks for being a good sport with this.
John, you always throw me you see, some of these are really tough because of the fact that
I know. You think I'm going to give you easy questions like, I love him and he's going to break up with me, but I'm the best he ever had and he's never going to have me again and he's loving my life is really lost in my life. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah, that was Jay Ashcroft talking to Mark Maxwell.
Oh, hold on a minute. My phone's ringing here. Hold on a minute. I'm not going to put this on the air. Okay. Yeah, hello? Yeah. Oh, great idea. Okay, we'll talk about it. Thanks. Bye. Okay, that was a listener.
Here it comes. That was Shelley Barr saying, John, run for your life.
that was a listener saying, what John should be doing is, this should be the purity test that the Republicans should have to pass in order to be on the ballot.
Yes. That was actually Patty McCluskey, because Mark was out in the front lawn waving his gun at some people. And he's like, call him, get him on the phone, get Brad on the phone. I got to finish my world record overhead military press.
You're making fun of
By
him.
the way, shoot it right in my butt.
You're making fun of him.
I'm not making fun of him. I think he's great. I think he could be a great advocate for TRT. And I think at some point he's going to move. If the candidate vetting thing doesn't work, he should be an advocate for TRT.
John there's certain things. John is like a dog with a bone. He just doesn't let go of certain things. But
I think one of the silliest things in the world is like, if people, I don't know. I love the fact that you love McCluskey. And again, I think he has done great things and he's done wonderful things, I think, for our cause as Republicans. And there's no taking that away from him. But Brad, you love the fact that he puts a lot of miles on the road, which is apparently an accomplishment. And you also think that he has his body at age 67 by clean living.
John's okay. First off, what was the term you used? What was the term you used about what's again?
Efforting metrics.
Efforting metrics.
Yeah, and I ended up coming to your position, which is we should elect the governor based on how many miles. It should be like, I want former racer Rick Mears or maybe Mario Andretti to be governor, because all that matters is if you put a lot of miles on your car, because that shows you really care.
See, John, that's where you and I disagree on things because of the fact that what's the old Woody Allen saying, which people claim is
90% of success is showing up.
Right, which in my life has proved true so many times. It isn't even funny how many times that's happened. And matter of fact, you know about this. I have 2 situations right now that I show up for every single time, and it's to the point where it's gotten me tremendous, whether or not I'll be victorious in both of these things I'm working on, but yet people notice the fact that I show up every time. I'm there. I'm ready to defend my position. And I'm essentially, as opposed to nowadays, I'm not some keyboard warrior sitting at home in his mom's basement, texting or putting Twitter.
Tweeting. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that, Brad.
And see, to a certain extent, I think but the crazy part of this is that you can say, well, Brad, aren't you being a little hypocritical because you've criticized the kids who are, doing the stuff at Washington University? I just think they're misguided. And partly because of the fact that my background is I'm an underdog. In my entire life, I've been told you can't do that, you can't do this. I remember my first job in the radio business at KSLQ. My very first program director, Gary Bridges, told me, he says, you don't have the talent for this industry. Okay, maybe he was right. 51 years later,
he was wrong, and you proved him wrong. But didn't you prove him wrong a long time ago? And isn't it time to release that whole Gary Bridges thing?
Yeah, but the whole point of it is that I am the eternal underdog. I'm the guy that does things that other people say I can't do, and quite honestly, that makes me work that much harder. So they're doing me a favor when people are criticizing me and saying, well, and I think the problem with that is that so many people nowadays, if you criticize them, they, let's be honest, the current generation, if you throw shade at them, oh my God,
they're not resilient. Now
right.
Let's go back to this point. I don't think that Jay Ashcroft is at the end of the race. If Jay Ashcroft has put 112,000 miles on his car, and Bill Eigels put 110, and Mike Kehoe's put 108, I don't think that means that Jay Ashcroft is a better candidate for governor because he's got Mike Kehoe by 4,000 miles. I'm taking it to its illogical example, but you get what I'm saying, Brad. And we might just never agree on this.
John,
I think that saying that you put a lot of miles on your car is a lazy way of saying, but I'm trying real hard. I mean, I'm driving. I'm going to a lot of Buc-ee's.
See, John and I are going to disagree with this because of the fact that but it's not just the miles. He's meeting people. He's talking to people. He's going into Buc-ee's and he's shaking hands and he's getting the pulse of the people. How many times in my career have I been sitting like in a radio studio and I think, well, this is the way people think. And I go out into the public and I see the exact opposite. Perfect example, okay? It was drilled into my head that certain types of music appeal to certain people and certain age groups, okay? But then I started, in my earlier years in the career, started making a little bit extra money here and there, spinning records at wedding receptions and stuff like that, okay? And I was amazed at if you put a Michael Jackson song on the system and you start playing Michael Jackson, yeah, you got the 18 to 34-year-old women out there, but you got the 65 plus women out there just having a hell of a time dancing to Michael Jackson. But yet my program director boss would say, well, Michael Jackson is strictly 18 to 34 female audience. And when you played Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys. You played Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys, that nobody would get in the dance floor, when that would pack the dance floor with everybody, including the kids from 6 years old to the people out there scooting around on their mobility scooters and their wheelchairs. Okay, and that was one of the things that I saw. I thought to myself, okay, my boss told me that this is not the way things are. And once again, when you
I agree. And you know what else is going to pack the dance floor as we're up against 8 o'clock, Brad? Today at 1 p.m., folks can go to my website and they'll see a link to This Week in Missouri Politics midweek update. I'll be joining Scott Fawn in Jefferson City today for the midweek update.
John, I wasn't supposed to give you your travel schedule.
Yeah, but you know what? You did last week, and people already know. Scott tweeted it yesterday, and I have it up today. So folks can go, and I will be in Jeff City today at 1 p.m. for the midweek update. Find the link on johncombest.com.
To give you an idea how plugged in John is, today is May 15th, so he's gone through 30, 60, 90. So this is like the 105th day, approximately 105 days since the beginning of the year, right? Wouldn't there be about close?
Yeah, probably something like that.
John has been in Jefferson City 104 of those days.
Absolutely not. First time in 15 years.
Unbelievable. Okay, John, say goodbye.
See you guys tomorrow.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's C-O-M-B-E-S-T, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?